So we've got another problem here, and that's the lack of enough space. I need more space in case I trip up and I want to repeat again without stopping the process. So how do I do that? Well, if the space given by the recording, by the master track, isn't long enough for you, you need to know how to insert more time. How do you do that? Well, first of all, you go to the master track and you need to decide where you need more time. Let's suppose that you need more time after this one. Okay, so I find that this space is not enough for me. How do I insert more time? One thing you can do is copy some silence from anywhere, from here, click and drag. You have selected that silent space. You go to copy, and then you paste that where you need it. I need it exactly there, so I just click once, and then I go to the paste icon, and I've pasted that bit of silence I had copied onto it. So this is one way. It works very much like a word processor where you select a number of words or empty space, you copy, and then you insert that somewhere else. There's another way of doing this. It's by generating a silent gap. This is the second method. You go to generate silence. And in this silence, what you have to do is decide how many seconds and how many units of time you're going to use. I want to use seconds, so I selected seconds from the pull-down menu, seconds. I want to add 5 seconds. 5 seconds. The seconds are going to be added where the cursor is, here. So when I click OK, I get those 5 seconds here, so that my silent gap for repetition or repetitions is much longer, so I can repeat several times. Remember, however, that I'm going to press the record button and yet another empty track is going to open. Look. You've heard about the rail strike. You've heard about the rail strike. Stop. I want to silence the track, the master track. I want to listen just to this bit of student track that I've created, because it's the only one active. When I press play, I will listen only to that. I can press play, and I can also play by pressing the space bar. The space bar can be very, very practical. There's nothing active, so you won't hear anything else. And with the space bar, you also stop. So you can play back and stop with the space bar if you use a computer or a notebook. I need to submit only one track to my teacher. I want my final version, my very last, the one in which I show my best, not the first trials, because the first trials were not very good. They were just rough copies of my work. How do I get, everything together? Well, all this is editable. I mean, all these portions of sound wave can be selected, copied up here, and pasted somewhere else. So if I wanted to paste this in the second student track, okay, I click in the position where I want it, I go to paste, and there it is. It's exactly the same thing, but it's grey because this track has been muted. If I want to listen to this one and only this one, I have to press solo. And now the whole of the first student track has been activated. And I can listen to the whole of it or to just this part I recorded. There are many other tricks to be used with Audacity that I'm going to show in a separate video, but I think that with this it's already enough. What you must not forget to do also to avoid crowding your workspace is to close the windows that you don't use anymore, the tracks that you don't use anymore, like this one. I've already copied my production here from here to here, and okay, so I don't want it anymore. Perhaps it would be useful to mention at this point that there's another way of copying and pasting, which is exactly the same as in Word, for instance. Instead of using the menus with the mouse, copy, paste the buttons on the toolbar, you can also use keyboard shortcuts. Remember that copy can be activated by Control-C, and in order to paste what you copied to the clipboard, you do Control-V. That's the same as paste. When you work a lot, using the keyboard can become very practical. You work faster, more comfortably in that way. So for the time being, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to close this. This would be my track, and if I want to see the whole of my work, I have to use the magnifying lenses. Fit project means that you put all the sound wave, make it visible, the whole of it from the very beginning till the end. And if you want to select a part and make that part take up all the space available, you go to this magnifying lens and fit selection, and it will stretch it. It's like zooming in because you stretch the selection and you make it take up the whole of the screen. And that can be very, very useful, especially when you have to work on aspiration. You can see how much VOT, how much aspiration you have used or how little. But I think that will come in another tutorial.